Welcome, everybody, to the Alliance After Dark podcast. I am not Aloof Balloon. He is actually not taking a vacation like some other council members might, Prez. He is actually here on the other side of the mic playing the other side. How are you doing today, Aloof Balloon?
We talked about it before the podcast. I'm really nervous. I don't like being on the other side. I'm a control freak. So, but I know you're going to do a great job. So excited to be
Well, I
here.
appreciate that. I appreciate that. For those of you who don't know who I am by my voice, I am the Ultimate Toasters. I am the head captain in the RVA. I also am on the council in the FCS. I know you had the GM on last time, so I thought I'd bring that up.
The
But yeah,
bread
I feel,
man.
yeah, the bread man, as Twilight likes to call me. Um, Prez likes to call me Toasties, and so does Vols actually, which I kind of like. I kind of like Toasties.
Toasties. Okay. I like it.
Um, but I was gonna say this feels a lot like when you have like a friend or a relative who has like a really nice car, and they come over and you're like, can I just like take a spin around the block, and then they get in the passenger seat, they give you the keys, and you get to spin it around the block. That's how I feel right
Yeah. Be very careful. I don't have insurance on this.
now. I'll do my very best not to bring shame to the Aloof name.
There you go. You couldn't do much
um,
worse.
all right, so I guess the reason I actually brought this up to you, just so everyone knows, I brought this up to you because I feel like you're an interesting character. I think you might agree with that. I think a lot of the league might agree with that, and I feel like they might want to hear from your side on the other side of the mic, hear more about you personally. So I guess I'm going to start off with the pretty simple question to you, but like, how'd you get involved with the RVA in the first place?
Coronavirus. So a mixture of sitting around at home for weeks on end. Work can only get you so far, and I'm not much of a quote gamer. I just got an Xbox. I thought that was pretty nifty. Um,
Nice, nice.
yeah, I mean, I don't really do a whole lot of gaming or anything like that, but I was starving for some sports in my life, as I assume most of the people listening were, and just kind of fiddled around on my phone there, found a game. I used to play Tecmo Bowl as a child on the Super Nintendo, so something like Retro Bowl really appealed to the sentimental young boy in me. And
You're dating yourself a little bit, Aloof.
oh, that's fine. I'm complete. I own it. I am completely cool with it. Tecmo Bowl is a game that every individual should play at least once or twice in their life. It's a great game. So that's kind of the story of Retro Bowl.
And then what did you find the RBA on Twitter? Did you find the website first? How'd you get involved in the RBA?
Oh, where did I find it? A Discord. I was on the main Discord channel for Retro
Like
Bowl.
the Retro Bowl one? Gotcha.
Yeah, I spent a good amount of time there actually, and saw that there were leagues. I didn't know what that meant at the time, really. Jumped on the first one that I saw, which happened to be RBA, which had fates intervened differently, I may have played somewhere else. But as it happened, RBA was the first one I saw, so I jumped on, and I actually haven't been on the main Retro Bowl League Discord since. So
Oh, really? You haven't even jumped in there at all since?
well, if I can, toasters. Okay, so the full story isn't really that I got so enamored with RBA. The true story is they've got a couple, I will say, language restrictions on that particular board. Pickles might know what I'm talking about. I think he's a mod on that board.
Right, right.
I said, all I said, toasters,
Oh no. Oh
is this is
no.
all I said. I said, pass smells like ass, and run gets it done. And I got banned for like 20 minutes, and I'm like, no, I'm done. I'm out of here. If I can't say ass, if I can't speak my aloof mind, I'm not gonna do it. And so the RBA bot that has been implemented, you are on notice, sir.
We gotta. Hey, Royals over there. Make sure you put a mute on anyone who says pass his ass, just so we actually
Yeah,
don't do that. We don't want to
I was
get
gonna
Aloof
say,
out of
I
here.
was gonna say, I'm going to college football now.
Oh man. So So interestingly enough, I when I actually joined the RBA, I remember saying to a bunch of the council members that I was interested in helping out any way I can. I feel like when I knew that you were starting the podcast, that I reached out to you and told you, hey, any help that you need, let me know. I'd be definitely down to help. But why a podcast? That's my question to you, because I know a lot of other people have done a lot of other stuff. Like Tampa has the news center, and I mean, there was a reporter. We had a reporter in the FCS too. But like, why a podcast?
Can I get real for a second?
Yeah, of
So,
course.
very much similar to why I downloaded Retrobowl to begin with. I just starved for some human interaction,
Yeah.
basic human
Hmm.
connection. So, at work, I like to think I'm a little magnanimous. I can kind of get into it with anyone and talk shop, and that was sort of my outlet. But from the point now where I'm working from home, I'm in a couple of society boys clubs. Uh, they've been canceled. Friends obviously distancing. So it really
Right,
spawned
right.
from just wanting to do what I'm doing with you right now, which is talk. I like to talk, and if I can learn about some people, that's all the better. So it really spawned from that.
That's it's very wholesome of you, you know?
Mm. It's also very
Yeah.
narcissistic of me. But you get the yin and the yang with Aloof Baloo.
That's funny. I mean, I love to talk to, if you didn't know, from offering to do this
Yeah,
and from last time I was on the podcast. So I mean, I totally get it. And I mean, I've fallen in love with, the retro ball community as a whole. I don't think I've ran into a person I haven't enjoyed interacting with here.
sure.
Um, it's been great. So I mean, hey, I 100% get it. I 100% get it. But more importantly, you just finished your 24-hour stream a little while ago for the 100 days of the RBA.
Ugh.
Are you planning on doing anything when we get to 200 days? I know you've said some stuff about potentially doing another one.
Yeah, 48 hours. Uh,
48.
yes, it's going to be very Andy Warhol esque. I'll be sleeping for at least 10 of those hours, and you're just going to be watching me sleep. Uh,
That's so funny.
I, I don't know. It went.
I
It
don't mean to put you on the spot.
No, exactly. That's fair. No, it went really really well. And again, I don't mean that like full of myself. What I mean by that is I had so many people that joined and didn't just join for 5 minutes, but like literally stayed on with me for hours and hours. Uh, uh, KO Tonics was on for like 7 8 hours. I had uh, Los Lobos or Vols and LA Legionnaires or previously LA Legionnaires play Rocket League with me for like 10 hours. I know you were there. Comments was
Yeah.
there. I mean, there was a lot of guys. Mrs. Comments got on for like an hour and just started talking about being a vegan for like an hour, which was awesome. It all goes.
As vegans do.
We won't get into that.
Sorry, Miss Comments.
That's
I
good.
apologize. On the back end, I guess I apologize.
uh, but anything that I can do that stirs up some participation in the community, like even you wanting to do this podcast, people jumping in on the stream with me, dude, I'll do anything that just makes people get involved. Like I certainly don't want to just be like in my own echo chamber, and
Right.
So yeah, would I do it again? I think I will. I don't want to, but damn, it went well the first time, so I feel
I,
like I
I
have to.
know I know you're only a couple years my senior, but I mean, I don't even 24-hour podcast stream, man. I don't even know if I could stay awake that whole time. So I definitely give you props for that. But I feel like based on what you're saying, it kind of goes back to a little bit of what I was saying before. I mean, the retro bowl community, and I mean the RBA community especially, is it's such a I don't even know how to describe it. It's like something I've never been a part of before, digitally at least.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
like it's a feeling that I feel like when I'm with my real friends. Like I feel like I actually connect with these people. Like I've never met any of them. Like will I ever meet any of them? Who knows? Hopefully, but maybe not. And I mean, I don't know. It just I feel like the RBA seems to bring out the best in a lot of people, and I've enjoyed interacting with everyone too. So I definitely feel you on that end with the live stream.
Right on, man. And like I said, I think it's filling a gap, a very essential gap. And so, you know, where this thing goes once things out there improve, if they improve. Is
Yeah,
is
who knows when that'll happen.
Yeah, it's anyone's guess, right? But the idea is that you
Right.
take the momentum that we've been building here and try to project it outwards. So
Yeah, and I think, I mean, it might be good for the council to hear that. I mean, knowing that someone like you who may not have like a, I guess, a leadership role in the RBA per se, but kind of you're probably seen as a leader, amongst the group, but you don't have that role, as I was saying. But you even being worried about what could happen to the RBA in the future, I mean, that's probably good to hear on the council's end, because they're probably worried about what's going to happen too.
sure, yeah. I mean, it's all relative. You know, everything that we've done so far is a result of what we have done. I mean, nothing that has been
Right.
created or built. This community that you've talked about just came out of nowhere. We all pitched in, we all made it work, and if we want this thing to keep going, well, by God, it's up to us. So,
Exactly.
it's this thing will go on as long as we want it to.
Right. Yeah. I mean, hey, I'm having a blast, and I don't see any time in me stopping anytime soon. I sounds like you feel the same way.
Yeah, you're taking over the podcast, so that's I've got something off my plate now, so I'm actually pretty excited. So
No,
I
uh,
I would be completely
um,
cool with that.
you know what? Maybe those discussions can happen after
Yes,
after everybody
there we go.
downvotes this on YouTube.
Oh wow, Jesus!
Because of me, not because of you.
No, no,
Of
no,
course, of
no,
course.
no, no.
So I mentioned this to you right before we started, and I think I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it in typical Aloof Balloon fashion. I
Crap.
fashioned my own trivia questions for you.
Yeah, here it
How do
comes.
you feel about that?
I'm horrified actually, because it's easier to be the puppet master. I'm very afraid of how people will think of me after this. So
That's very funny. And just so you know, um, all of my questions today are actually balloon related trivia questions in honor of the Aloof me taking over the Aloof Balloon podcast for today.
how many questions is this?
I have 10 questions. Is that
You
too many?
found 10 special facts about balloons?
I mean, I told you I prepared, man.
Holy hell. That's incredible.
So I think the best way to do this, I know you usually do a Discord message after every one, but how about do you think it's better to go one by one, or should I was thinking of having you answer them as we go along, and then we'll go back over your answers at the end in case people want to play along with us.
Yeah, that's cool. Let's do that.
All right, so how about you DM me after every question,
Gotcha.
and then at the end we'll go over your answers and see how they go, okay?
Oh boy. Okay, go for it.
You ready for this?
I just need to do a small sacrifice to the gods for some knowledge on balloons. I don't think I know a whole lot about balloons. But yeah, go for it. Let's do it.
I think the balloon gods are going to be disappointed to hear that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
We have a pickle king, but we actually don't have a balloon king yet. Yet.
Nor should we ever have one.
All right, so we're going to go question number one.
Okay.
Who invented rubber balloons and in what year?
Okay. Is this the easiest question or is this the hardest question? Would you say?
Um,
Does it get easier from here or harder?
I kind of, they're kind of all over the place. I would say this is on the harder end.
Yeah.
It's a name you would recognize.
So you said the first rubber balloon.
Yes, rubber balloons.
Okay, because I know the first lambskin balloon. So I don't think it's the same guy. That's too bad.
I'll give it to you if you get either the name or the year.
Okay. Wow. The first rubber balloon. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Jesus. Yeah. I feel good about that.
All right.
I, at least I have
I
logic. I have logic behind it. So
Yes, you do. That is true.
it's okay. feel good
All right,
about it.
question number 2. So like I said to everybody who's playing along with us, I'm going to go over the answers at the end once we get through them all, in case you want to play along. So question number 2. Sorry, I had to clear my throat there. What language does the word balloon come from?
Oh. Balloon. Balloon. Isn't there like in soccer the balloon cup or something like that? Or God, I don't know. That's my answer.
All right,
It's
rocking and rolling here. So question number
good.
3.
Okay.
When was the first manned, untethered hot air balloon flight? I know it sounds very specific, but it needs to be specific because obviously tethered hot air balloon flights are not as impressive as the untethered ones.
Right. Of course. Yep. Of course.
See, I didn't keep it rubber specific. Now we're going into hot air balloon.
Does the guy from the Wizard of Oz count? Didn't the Oz? Does that count? Because that's like from like 1920 something. So
I'll give you a hint. It's before the 19 whatever.
Yeah. All right. I have to give you the year.
Just the year. I mean, if you want to
Okay.
guess the month and day, you can. But
Yeah, I just want. Well, I didn't want to flex on you, so okay, we'll go with that.
Now, so just so you know, we're 3 questions in. Now you know how I felt like 15 questions in when I had to guess the famous person that you were giving me clues on.
Bruce Lee.
Just no idea what's going on. Well, I felt like I didn't know Bruce Lee till we were done.
Oh my goodness, this is tough though. Bruce Lee's is. That's okay. You're the host. I apologize. Go for it. We're doing good. We're rolling.
So the next question 4. So what country was this first manned untethered hot air balloon?
So
what country did it happen?
So I'm just gonna double down on that second question about what language does balloon come from, and just say if it came from this place, or that the word is this origin. I'm gonna assume
it would make sense, right?
I mean, that's my again. I have logic. I could be completely off base, but at least I'm giving you some insight into why I'm picking what I'm doing.
So I hope somebody else gets at least 1 or 2 of these right, so I don't seem like a complete fool just making you answer the hardest question.
That makes me think that I haven't answered anything right yet, and that makes me sad.
So it's question number 5.
Okay.
What is the technical term for the balloon that is on a hot air balloon? It is not called a balloon. There is another term that is used to describe it. If someone in the RBA is a hot air balloon, they would probably know this.
Say the question again. What's another name?
What is the technical term for the balloon on a hot air balloon? It is not balloon. That is not what the professional hot air ballooners call it.
Is it weather balloon? Can I say what? I can't say. I can't ask you that.
It is one word. It is
okay.
one word.
Okay. I'm gonna say. How do you spell that?
You can pull an Aloof ghost. What you mean? You spell it out close.
I'm just throwing a fake word at you. I don't think that's right. Okay.
Am I supposed to know what that word is? We'll get back to it.
Yeah, okay. That's not a good sign either. All right. Okay.
We'll get back to it.
Yes.
Question 6. So they start to get a little simpler. I think.
Okay.
This one's a little more difficult, but the next 4 are going to be not too bad. So what is the record for the highest manned hot air balloon flight? You can go feet. You can go meters. I don't know what you prefer.
Yeah, I can go by meters. That's fine. The problem is, so a little known fact: a Aloof balloon. The balloon in my name is actually based off of a circus balloon. I don't know much about weather balloons or French or potentially French balloons. I'm more of a circus balloon. So had these questions been more about like balloons at the circus, I think I would have done a lot better. I'm just giving myself an out. That's
That's fine.
my
That's
expert
fine.
my expertise is circus balloons. All right.
I mean, who the FCS GM and Ghost last time got like what, a combined like 3 questions right in the last one.
Yeah, and I'm dangerously close to not getting even near that.
Okay. All right. So this next question is a little easier, I think.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you, in what decade were foil balloons invented? And by foil balloons, I mean like that say like "Happy Birthday" on them. The balloons that aren't made out of rubber.
Shoot.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm asking for decade though. I tried to make it a little.
Right.
Okay. We're almost there. All right. You're almost. Okay.
I feel good.
So how about what decade rubber balloons first manufactured in the United States?
In the United States?
Yep, in the United States.
Do we even manufacture anything anymore? Is that even?
Well, when were they first manufactured?
Oh boy. All right. All right. In the United States. Jeez.
Do you feel completely lost right now?
No, I don't. Well, yeah, I do, but I'm gonna pretend I don't. All right. So there we go.
Okay. 2 more questions. This one I think is kind of interesting. So the first Macy's Thanksgiving have balloons was in 1926.
Oh boy.
How many balloons were featured in that parade with balloons?
How many unique balloons?
How many like a big
Oh, the big floats. Okay. How many of those?
Float balloons, yeah.
What year was this? 1926?
1926.
Okay, so Snoopy doesn't exist yet. Stewie from Family Guy doesn't exist yet.
That's funny. I almost asked a question about balloons actually.
It's usually this number. For any of these types of questions, the number is always this. That's what I've noticed. That's like some.
Is it?
That's some philosophical knowledge for you. Yeah.
Is that like when you should put C as every answer
Yeah.
on the Scantron?
That number is. This is my number for any time that it's like, how many of this? It's always that.
That's very funny.
Yeah.
It's very funny. Okay. And the last question is, I'll do decade again just to give you a little shot. When did the first water appear?
First water balloon?
Yep.
This seems like a hippie thing. I'm gonna say the 60s. Water balloons seem like a hippie thing. Is that
All right.
Is that wrong to say that? Can I say that? That seems like a.
Can you say it's a hippies thing? I mean, it's your.
It's like
no, it's my podcast.
Well, it's like the hacky sack. Hacky sack and water balloons is where I go. Okay.
That's how you get hippies.
Yeah, that's how you get hippies. Yeah.
They must not have hippies in Michigan.
No, it's too cold, man. All right. How did I do? I'm tickled to know.
See how you did? Let's go one by one.
Yes,
okay,
let's do this.
The first question was, who invented radios and when? I was going to give you if you got either one. Your answer was Thomas Edison in 1919.
Yes.
I will let you know that you were very far.
Ouch.
The first rubber balloons were invented in 1824.
Not a good start.
By Professor Michael Faraday.
Oh, dang. All right. Fair enough. Dang.
See, that's a guy you'd know.
That's a good one. That makes sense to me now. Yes, exactly. So Thomas Edison, I was in that sort of that vein there. I was getting down to the level there, but God, I was way off. Okay, cool. Michael Faraday it is.
For those of you listening on and don't know who Faraday is, big scientist in electromagnetism, stuff like that.
Exactly.
So what language does the word balloon come from? You said French, and actually it comes from Italian. From the word, I think it's pronounced pallone, meaning a large ball.
Dang it.
Maybe it's pronounced palloon. I don't know Italian, so.
Dang. Fair enough.
How do you feel right now? 0 for 2.
I mean, that one I feel okay with because it's a romance language, so I get it. Dang it. Okay.
Close. I'll give you close. So, when was the first manned, untethered hot air balloon flight? You said 1845. The actual 1783. Hot air balloons are that old. How crazy is that? I feel like that was interesting.
That's actually pretty legit. Yeah. Definitely didn't think that. Okay. I like that.
So over three, but on some better news, you did get number four correct.
Holy hell. Are you serious?
In what country was the manned? What country was that first flight? It was in France. You were correct.
That's the most beautiful thing that's happened all day. All right, good. I'm doing good.
And you're doing great. You're doing great. I think it was actually done by two brothers. I read, interestingly. I guess kind of like the Wright brothers
Yeah, the French.
of
I
France.
was gonna say the French Wright brothers. All right, that's pretty legit. It's basically them just with like baguettes and berets, I suppose. I love it. That's great.
Where's Frenchie?
Yeah.
Where's Frenchie?
I don't know. That's sad now, actually, because I haven't seen him in a while. Yeah.
Oh man, Frenchie, throw a comment on the video when you get to this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Um, okay, so question number five: the technical term for balloon on top of a hot air balloon. What did you say?
So I couldn't spell it, but it's a dirigible. I may be pronouncing it wrong, but like a dirigible is like like a zeppelin or like a float. So I was thinking,
Ah,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah. I couldn't spell it.
When you said, say that word again, dirigible.
Yes.
I first thought of a didgeridoo,
Yeah, exactly.
which is
No.
which is not the
Yeah, no. Dirigible.
um, the actual technical term is actually an
Say that again.
envelope,
What the
like the
hell?
thing you stuff mail in.
Yeah. Wow. How the heck did that become what it became? All right.
I
You're
I don't
you're
know.
dropping truth bombs on me. This is good. I
So
feel like
next time someone asks you, prepared.
yeah, I feel like an idiot. All right.
I don't think I would have gotten any of
Okay.
just getting that.
Yeah.
Um, let's keep it moving. So record highest manned hot air balloon flight. You said 75,000 feet. You were close. It's 68,000, which
Oh, okay.
I'll give you close. I was reading about how it's harder to breathe when you get up there. I bet you they had like oxygen tanks or something with them. I don't know.
You know, those are the types of facts that always scare me. It's like, how do they find that out? Like a person can live 5 days without drinking water. Someone had to figure that out the hard way, and someone
It's so funny.
and more perversely, someone had to be watching that to record that to know. So again, 8,000 feet. I'd be interested to know how they figured that out. But
Maybe the balloon popped when they got up that high. I don't
so yeah, exactly. Yeah, someone was counting one Mississippi, two Mississippi.
Oh man. Okay. What decade were foil balloons invented? You said the 30s. It was actually the 70s.
Wow.
So fairly new.
Yeah, I'm
Tinfoil was
surprised.
a big thing in the 30s.
I mean, I would have thought just with things moving into the more modern era, but all right, I've been proven wrong.
You at least there's logic behind your guesses. You know, it's
I,
not like you're just shooting in the dark
I gave it my best effort, Toaster, and that's all I can ask of
here.
myself.
And that's all we can ask of you. I hope this is at least entertaining for.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll no longer be aloof balloon anymore. This is I'm more aloof,
yeah, I should have
less
thought of
balloon.
that. I should have thought of that on the front end. So when were rubber balloons first manufactured in the U.S.? You said 20s. It was actually the 1900s. It was 1907 to be exact.
Ah, dang.
So you got one right so far and three close enough.
That sounds
Usually
like
they say
that's
what the
just
closest
yeah,
horseshoes and hand grenades.
yeah, close
I guess
enough.
balloons too.
Yeah, close enough is like the story of my life. But that'll work. I can work with close enough.
So to finish it off, how many balloons? The last two questions. How many balloons first Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade using balloons in 1966? You said five. It was actually three.
Oh,
And
dang it.
interestingly enough, you brought up Snoopy. I was actually going to ask you a question because I did read about how many different Snoopies they've used in the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade since the beginning, and there's actually been 8 different ones they've used.
I'm surprised that's it. I,
Yeah, right.
I would. I don't
I
know
don't know
why.
if that means we're using.
Yeah, I don't know. I would have thought more.
Yeah, I mean, me too. I thought, I would have thought every year. But what's actually interesting is when they first were doing the Macy's parade with the balloons, they used to release them after they were done with them,
So,
and they realized how much of a hazard it 5 years of doing it, so then they stopped doing it.
there's this graveyard somewhere in the Himalayas of all these travelers, traveled balloons, dead Snoopies. Yeah, that's a little creepy.
Right? Imagine like you're like you just see like Snoopy right next to you.
Right.
What's going on here?
Right, exactly.
Where am I?
Yeah,
Am I in a
exactly.
Disney movie?
Right, exactly.
And so, last question: when did water first appear? It's actually the 50s. You said the 60s. That's one decade off.
Oh, it was
It's
a
another.
beatnik thing. All right, beatniks. Okay, gotcha. Yep, that would have been my second guess.
So, interestingly enough, that's the story. I think it's interesting. I hope everybody you'll find it interesting. But apparently, this guy was trying to find a solution to trench foot, and so he was putting latex over his socks,
A
which
solu-
made it hard for him to put his socks on. Then he started heating the latex, so it made it off. And to make sure they were waterproof, he started filling that with his socks with water, and he found a leak in one of them, so he threw it against the wall and exploded, and then boom,
a
water
solution.
was
A solution to what? Trunchfoot?
trench foot,
What's
trench foot,
what's trenchfoot?
like I think like a World War I issue,
A world a World War I issue. I don't like
when
athlete's
you're
feet.
in. Well, Google is telling me the condition first became known. Soldiers got trench foot fighting in wet condition in the trenches without the extra socks or boots to keep their feet dry.
So just wet feet, or was it like
I mean, I guess I think it may probably like rots your feet. I think that's
oh,
kind of
whoa,
yeah.
dang,
I mean, I'm not gonna Google the images.
yeah,
Wikipedia's got a nice picture if you take a look.
yeah, definitely.
But
And he used a
yeah,
balloon. He used a balloon to take care of it.
he was using latex over his socks to make his socks waterproof,
Yeah.
and then he filled the sock with water at one point to make sure that the latex was holding the water in, also holding it out. And when he found a leak in his balloon or his latex sock, he threw it against the wall and it exploded. He was like, "Wait a minute,
We're onto something.
kids could throw these at each other."
Hippies.
I I don't know if that was his next thought. It seems like that's a logical place to go. No?
Can I tell you a story that is one of my favorite Winston Churchill stories, and and actually
Oh,
and actually almost kind of mimics the story that you just provided.
let's hear it.
Okay, so this is now going to become the Aloof balloon history moment, but it's one of my favorite stories. Okay, so World War II, right? Trench warfare. Um, Winston Churchill decides this is a true story. Winston Churchill decides that he's going to utilize condoms to protect the guns of the British armed forces. Because obviously, fighting in the European countryside, you get all kinds of weather elements. Guns would backfire, they'd stop working, they'd get jammed, all kinds of elemental issues with the guns. So, what you do is you cover the guns with latex, in this case, a condom, and it protects the guns. Also, the German military, which was strapped for supplies throughout the entire war, had a known history of stealing and confiscating the guns of the British armed forces during battles. Okay, so Winston Churchill says, okay, we're going to use condoms to protect our guns from the elements, but more importantly, we're only going to use extra large condoms on the guns so that when the German military steals the guns, they will see these gigantic condoms and think that the British armed forces are just massively endowed men. Uh, one of my favorite stories of Winston Churchill. A,
That's awesome.
not only a practical man, but had a great sense of humor. So yes,
Psychological warfare
psychological
on
warfare.
top of everything that was going on.
Yes, exactly.
That's so funny. So where does I was actually going to ask you in the chat now that we're all in Churchill. I was going to ask you in the chat because I remember there was a couple weeks back we were talking about great leaders because you were with Prez about I think it was Caesar. How you're not a big Caesar guy. I actually like Julius because I took Latin for 6 years in school.
Oh boy.
And one of my favorite quotes that I learned from Latin is "Alia iactus est," which is what Caesar said when he crossed the Rubicon, I believe, with the
Rubicon,
troops
yes.
into Rome,
Yes.
because you weren't supposed to bring soldiers into the city of Rome. They're supposed to stay outside. So
Correct.
in Rome, and that statement, the die has been cast. So basically, meaning like I made my like we'll see what the reaction is, and I think that's pretty baller thing to say when
It's
you take
it,
troops into the.
it's a baller thing, but I have a problem with dictators. So
Well,
I
no,
cannot
fair. So
abide by Julius Caesar. Changed the course of Roman history. Some would say for the better. I would say it took Rome down a path of destruction. So that's my
you can
story.
say he was better than Nero, right?
Well, everyone was better than Nero, Toasters. I mean, the guy plays a lute while the entire city's burning, and also has a weird sort of affiliation, I believe, with his mother or his sister. So yeah, Nero was a wild one himself. But again, that's the problem with dictatorships. When the population doesn't have the right or the ability to decide for themselves who's in power, you get all kinds. So
I think we've lost everybody, but I'm extremely intrigued, so I'm going to stay here.
I
What
like
I
it.
want to get to actually Churchill was during that conversation. I don't know, was his name? I don't know whether or not his name was brought up, but where do you put him in terms of leaders of nations of all time? I know you were making a list during the conversation. Where do you put him?
Where do I put Churchill?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay. Well, so let's start from the top actually. So number one is Teddy Roosevelt to me, and we can get into Teddy Roosevelt later. But he's my number one.
I'm a
Close.
New Yorker, so I
There you
love
go.
Teddy.
Exactly. Closely followed by George Washington. Um, but that's another guy we can get into. Uh, Winston Churchill's pretty high up there. Top 10, maybe.
Okay,
I think
back end of your top 10.
you probably put him at like a solid six, maybe six or
Okay,
seven.
okay,
The thing about those kinds of guys, it goes back to the question: does the man make the moment, or does the moment make the man? And
yes.
with Winston Churchill, he was already a man out of time. He had something about him that was different, and thank goodness he was there at the right time and at the right place. Um, Obviously, history could have played out a lot different. I know that Churchill has become something of a controversial figure. He definitely had faults, but then so
As does everybody.
as does everybody. I completely agree. Um, but Churchill is an interesting character and someone that I definitely respect very much as a leader in one of the hardest times in modern human history. So
It's interesting that you put Teddy so high. Where do you put FD? I feel like
F
he's got to be up there. No.
FDR is I would say lower on my list. I'm not sure that what FDR did was good in the long term for the country. Uh, uh, I respect, just like with Churchill, that there was a lot to be done, and it was an especially difficult time in the history of the country.
Right.
But I'm not so convinced that his remedy towards fixing the domestic ills of the country at that time were something that we should have been doing, which of course was expanding the role of government in the daily lives of individuals.
That's all. I mean, hey, that's
Yeah,
all fair.
but he's up
Um,
there. I mean, yeah, again, he was a unifying figure, I think, and so I have to respect him on that. I think anyone that can bring a country together and make them focus and try to achieve something better is admirable. And however they do that, I guess. But yeah, I don't think I would put him higher than, say, in the top 15.
So I'm gonna bypass the question of asking you how you think Texas Prez is on the leader scale, and we're gonna move on. I kind of want to stay here, but bring it back around to something that might be a little bit more relatable to people who are not huge history buffs per se. But you did recently watch Hamilton,
Yeah, I did.
and
Yeah.
George Washington is in Hamilton, so that's
Yes.
what you know. There's the connection. You see, I'm a professional here.
You're doing a really good job.
Um, so thank you for that. So I actually recently watched Hamilton too. I think Comets brought that up, or High Rollers, one of the two of them. But I watched it recently, and I want to give since you're a big history buff, you might have a little different opinion on it than me. So let me give you my take first, and then choose.
Love it.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
So being from New York, obviously, I've been to. I live close to New York City, train right away. I've been to Broadway a bunch of times. I actually saw
Nice.
Manuel Miranda when he was like one of his last shows doing In the Heights,
Wow.
which awesome.
Yeah.
They're making a movie of it if people don't know. But and if for other people who don't know this, he's the one who created. So um, I think that watching it on TV was cool. I think the music was awesome. I think he did a great job with that. Um, I think I think they got a lot. They're obviously trying to pack in a lot in a short time span, which never does it justice. I mean, the story about this the biography that Lin Manuel Miranda based the show off of is what, thousands of pages. I think it's like at least 1,000 pages. But I thought the music was good, and I really like the message too. I like the message about how in history you don't get to choose if people write about you or even what gets written about you. If people do, and I think that's an interesting message to live by. You can do everything right in your life, and your story could not be told. And they kind of focused on how Hamilton's wife, she did a lot of good, and they kind of threw that in there at the end. But no one knows her name. There's a bunch of people there who are part of the American Revolution who don't really get brought up in the history books, and I thought that was a really nice message. And if anything, it taught people who may not be into history a little bit about the founding of America, which is hugely important. But I think it was a story. I don't think I would have been happy if I had paid a couple $100s to go see it on Broadway. But what was your take on it?
Ah, that's a great take, Toasters. I like what you had to say. I mean, I could sit here and fact check, right, the historical accuracy, but
Right,
that's
of
kind of
course.
boring. I get that. I would say, I mean, I like what you took from it. I took from it, uh, this idea that you have a personal stake in the way that a country uh, shapes itself, and more importantly, if things are going a certain way that you don't approve of, um, you not only have the power but the obligation to try to impact it in a positive manner. So, Hamilton obviously not my most favorite historical figure. I was more of a Thomas Jefferson. I'm more of a Thomas Jefferson fan. But it was really well done. I'm not a big musical guy, but
Okay.
I thought they did a pretty good job with it. They touched on the Federalist Papers, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah.
Obviously, his relationship with Washington, and so all in all, it was pretty cool. And if it makes people at least a little bit more interested in history, that's a good thing all around. So overall, I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed it
I
actually.
thought I thought it was also interesting how Hamilton is, regardless of how you may personally feel about him, or anyone out there may feel about him. I mean, it's interesting that this character, or this, not even a character, it's a guy who was a founding father, had so much, not just impact on the formation of the country in terms of like what he physically did, but a man who was powerful enough that every or however thought of, that he had that pull on society, that when the presidential election was happening with Jefferson and Burr, that people were looking at him for his opinion on it, and there's a guy that had that much pull in
Sure.
the formation of the country, and he's rarely talked about. We we
Yeah.
we hear about Washington, Jefferson, and all those guys over and over again, but like you might know, people might have known the name Alexander Hamilton, but they didn't know this guy had so much pull back in the day.
Oh, for sure. I mean, he would have been president. Obviously, had things not spoiler alert gone awry for him. But it was definitely cool. I liked the focus on his personal life as well. I thought that was really interesting
Yeah,
as well. So,
definitely,
being
definitely good that
being an
they
orphan and all of that. So
right.
really really cool story.
And it was nice that they didn't, it wasn't like a here's the greatest American you don't know about. They picked
Sure.
out his faults too. They
Oh,
kind of
absolutely.
showed that he's a human too, and
Yep.
humans make mistakes, and he owned up to them. So
Yep. No, I think I absolutely agree, Toaster. I think it was a great musical, and I would definitely encourage anyone to watch it. Maybe I'll watch it on the stream,
yeah,
that 24, that 48-hour stream. Yeah.
I don't know if you want Disney to come
Oh,
after you
yeah.
though.
Maybe I'll do. Yeah, I'll act it out then. That's what I'll do. That'll be part. That'll be part of the stream. I'll act it out.
Could you imagine? That would make my, I don't even know, week, year. That would just be glorious to watch.
Right.
So I think we're getting we're I would love to talk to you for hours, man. I feel like we could go on for hours and keep talking, but I think we're getting you know towards where we should probably start to wrap this up. So I'm gonna do something that you always do.
Uh,
I'm gonna take your 10 questions that you always ask everybody.
okay.
One of them I've changed up slightly, but we'll
Nice.
get to that when we get there. But I feel like you always ask everybody this. It's
Yes.
good to get your side of it.
Okay.
So we're gonna start with you know them, the audience. What is your favorite word?
My favorite word. Okay. So you would think someone that asked this question of people would already have his answers ready to be put on display, but geez, I don't have an answer. So my favorite word, I guess, would have to be. Uh, I like the word. I don't want to get sappy, but I do like the word compassion. I think you can do a lot more damage uh, being a compassionate person than being someone that is singularly focused on self. So I'll say compassion.
Nice. I like that. I like that. I in the podcast where I did this question, I actually said that my favorite was concur, and
I love that word.
I never explained why. And I think now that I get another chance, I'm going to explain why.
Yeah.
My main reason why for liking the word is because if people who don't know what concur means, it means to agree. But I think the beauty of the word concur is there's no word that means the opposite unless you want to say like disagree. I like a word that's absolute. There's no, it's not disconcur or unconcur.
Ooh, I
I don't
like
know
that.
why.
Yeah, no, that dig that. That's a unique perspective there. I like that. Very nice.
I'm glad you do. I should have brought it up the first time, but now that I got a second chance to explain myself,
Love it.
so now we're gonna go. What's your least favorite word?
Can't. That's an easy one.
Nice.
I've never been a big fan of the word can't. I whether that's in the workplace, in life, I've never been someone to accept the word can't. Um, I'm more excited, interested in potential, in possibility, and even if it's a crazy potential or crazy possibility, it's something. I've never been interested in the sort of absolute, to kind of piggyback off you, that absolute sort of can't. I can't do that.
Yeah.
It can't be done.
Nice.
Yep.
And I'm not a parent. I know that you are, but I think that's a great way to great lesson to teach your kid. And I assume that if that's your least favorite word, you probably are instilling that in your child to tell you that, or tell you how to parent your child. But
Exactly. Yeah.
you know what I'm trying to say.
Absolutely. Yep. I do.
So, and I'm gonna preface this the same way that you always do. It doesn't have to be sexual,
Okay.
okay?
Yes.
It doesn't have to be sexual. But
Absolutely.
what term?
Um. God, I wanted turn it sexual, but I shouldn't. So I'll just be more I'll be more PG here and say I like there's a moment, and Toasters, I felt it here as well. There's a moment when you or I feel that when I'm talking to someone, things just sort of click on, and it sort of just feels like you're going, and there's no stilted, there's no setup. Things are moving at a almost like a musician's pace. Things are just kind of flowing. Um, that's what turns me on. It's happened a couple of times on this podcast. It happens a lot of times on other podcasts or just in talking with people. That turns me on. It's there's electricity, I would say, is the word I would use. So there you go.
I mean, I mean, regardless of what you said about, I mean, not even taking into account what you said about me. I think that's a great, a great feeling, and I appreciate that. Appreciate you saying that about me. I mean, I feel that way too. I feel like this kind of been more anticipated on the front end.
There you go. There you
Um, so then on the flip side, what turns you off?
go. God, being uh the kind of person I am, there's a lot that turns me off. Just because there's so much to say about that. I will say things that turn me off are when I see or hear or watch people punching down. I think I think bullies, uh, actual true bullies, are reprehensible, and punching down or going after sort of the least among us is probably the most cowardly thing that I can think of, and so therefore it is probably the thing I dislike the most from that
I like
perspective.
that too, man. I like that too. You're you're answering these.
I'm trying to give
What
you
is it? A lot.
I'm trying to give you real
I,
answers. I mean, I'm giving the people what they need, right? So there we are.
you're very deep right now, and I mean I appreciate it.
It's the coffee.
I like that. I like that you're being real with everybody, and me too.
Yeah, there you go.
So on to the next one. What sound or noise do you?
That's an easy one. So there's this moment, and guys that are fathers probably know exact moment I'm talking about. So there's a moment where you walk in the door, and toasters, you will have this experience someday. There's a moment you walk in the door, and your kid, in this case my 3-year-old daughter, uh, you can hear her reacting to hearing you walk through the door. And then there's like that moment of excitement where she runs towards you or just yells "daddy" or whatever the case may be, whatever she's feeling at that point. And that is by far the coolest noise that I can think of. So,
You can't see right now because obviously we're not video chatting, but I'm smiling right now.
yeah.
A,
Hey,
that's a moment that I can't wait to experience.
yes.
And B, when my dad used to come home, all me and my two brothers used to drop what we were doing, yell "daddy," and run and jump at him.
There you go, man. That
And
is legit.
like I could really appreciate that. My mom probably, because she probably didn't get the same. I mean, she wasn't
Right.
home the
Yeah.
same way he was, but
Yeah.
I can't wait for that moment. That's got to be a great, like if you're going, obviously, like that's got to be a feeling that like you get excited to come home from
It certainly feels like you're doing something right. Yeah. So
work.
it's a good feeling for sure.
So on the flip side, what sound or noise do you hate?
What sound or noise do I hate? Boy, I don't like. No, I don't want to. Okay, what do I hate? What noise do I hate? I gotta be serious. Okay, what, um, I don't know, man. Like, I have to be careful. It's any noise, I suppose, that I've ever used for a ringtone or like an alarm on my phone. I can't even explain it, but like there's certain like alarm noises that I've had maybe 10 years ago on like a flip phone that if I hear like in a movie or a show today, I get like this like deep seated like cringe feeling. Yeah, so it's not a specific noise per se, but it's just any noise that I've ever used for a ringtone or an alarm. So you have to be very careful about what song you put as your ringtone because I've stopped listening to songs that I've loved strictly because I had it as a ringtone and it grinds on me after a while. So anything like
That's
that,
fun.
yeah,
I Interestingly enough, I have the generic ringer as my alarm.
I know that one.
So
Yeah,
I don't know how to describe it, the feeling, but it's similar to what you're saying where if I'm in public and I hear that someone's phone ringing,
ugh,
my brain for that split second thinks that I'm asleep
yes,
and is like frantically like what is going on for like it's like half a second. I can't even,
yes,
it's like it's
exactly.
there for a second, then it's gone. You realize you're like, wait, no, I'm in the supermarket and the lady next to me is husband. Like
Yeah,
it's
it's Pavlov's dog. I mean, we're creepily conditioned. Yeah. So any of those.
that's so funny. Um, so the next question, as you know, is usually what is your favorite curse word?
Yes.
But as you always like to point out, not to point out, but you always tell us on every podcast that your favorite curse is shit.
Nice.
So
Good
so
poll.
why don't you so I told you I did my research.
Yeah.
So why don't you tell me what is your favorite PG curse word? Maybe one that you use around your kid to get around saying a curse word.
Um, I'm gonna say fluff. It's fluff is multidimensional, but we usually use fluff for certain parts of the anatomy. So, um, fluff.
Interesting. I like it. You need to find a way to not curse when you want to curse. So that's
Exactly.
it's acceptable.
Yes. Yes.
So getting to the last three, what professional career would you like to attempt?
I said this. I've said this before. I'm gonna lose like everyone on this. But I apologize. It's just who I am. I've always wanted to be a a uh, a delegate or minister in the House of Commons, which is British Parliament.
Right,
I've always
right.
wanted to be an MP. I don't even care where I'm the MP from. Although I would love to be like in the Scottish National Party and just rail against England and why the UK is going down the shithole and all of that. But I've always wanted to be an MP. So that's that's legitimately a true thing there. So yeah.
We need tyrants and road runners
Yes.
to
Yes.
get to listen to this just to just so we can have a couple appreciate that the
Exactly. I
reference.
lost everyone. Exactly. Particularly Middlesbrough. I would love to be the MP of Middlesbrough. Let's just lose.
You're
Let's
like, I don't care.
yes. Let's just lose
Let
everyone.
me name us extremely specific
I'm doubling
points.
down. I'll even take Blackpool. Okay. I'm sorry. I just
Oh
ruined the
man.
podcast. There we go. So there's like a
No, we're chugging a roll. Let's
there,
keep the
there
train moving.
there's a YouTube metric and you can see like when people stop watching a video. And I suspect that about at this moment we've lost everyone. So
What did Royal do at the end of his video? Oh, if you get to this point in the podcast, type peer
yeah,
as a
exactly.
as a
Exactly.
comment.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Let's see how many people do that.
Yeah.
Um, second to last, what professional career would you not like to attempt?
I gotta be honest. I mean, I don't want to be like full of myself here, but like, I would love to try it. I don't think there's much that I wouldn't want to do. Just out of like morbid curiosity. I don't know if I want to do it for like a career, everything and anything, but I'll say just to be, just to fall in line and not be different. I'll say that a desk job, which is kind of close to what I do right now, but just any kind of desk job, kind of like Neo in the Matrix, kind of like something like
Right.
that
No, I got you.
would be pretty daunting probably after a while. So I'll go with that.
You want to you would more like to be like row where you get to try like a new dirty job every week.
That would be awesome. I would be totally into that. That would actually be pretty cool. Yes, you're right.
And so the last question, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say to you when you arrive at the pearly gates?
Uh, now do you believe in me? Um, and and I don't mean that to insinuate that I'm a hard and fast atheist. I like to consider myself a deist, though a very skeptical one. Um, and I've asked myself what it would take for me to just make that complete leap. Because I don't think I've made it. I just have hope. Um, so I suppose standing before him or her or it would be about the best way to say okay. But yeah, maybe something like that would be the response. I don't
I
know.
mean, regardless of whether or not you're a religious man,
Yeah,
that's like a great answer. Like even if you 100%, it's like he's like now. How about now?
yeah.
It's like he's having a good laugh.
Yes, exactly. How about now? I've said this before to other people. Obviously, I feel compelled to believe, and I certainly would not be surprised if something was out there. I can't do it. I can't make the complete jump, and geez, I just don't know. So something like that would be pretty
But
fun.
that would do it. That would do it.
I
You got the
certainly
heaven
hope
just
so.
standing in front of you.
I certainly hope so. I mean, I hope I don't just sit there and go, well, maybe, but I guess we'll find out. Hopefully, hopefully we'll find out.
Oh man. All right, man. Well, I think that's where we call it. That I appreciate you very much. Take the wheel for one day. I'm gonna drop the keys back in, leave the keys in the cup holder on the way out. And
Beautiful.
thanks for letting me do this, man.
I had a lot of fun toasters. I hope it went okay for you, and I definitely again appreciate you very much for even offering to do this. It's pretty cool when you have someone that wants to try something out, and who am I to stop you? So, thank you for this as well. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, and thanks everybody for listening. We'll catch you on the next Alliance After Dark podcast.